Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a little experiment that includes my clothes washer and a 2000 watt inverter connected to a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. What I want to find out is, can this 2000 watt inverter run a whole cycle of towels through this washer without any issue? So let's get started. Okay, the equipment that I'm going to be working with is the LEESKY 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter. I chose this one because it puts out 120 volts and it also has a built-in circuit breaker right here. So I felt like it was kind of the safest bet for me. And it is connected to this Golden Mate Orion 1000 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. I chose this because it can output 120 amps with no problem. And I like the built-in screen, and it will give me the output of wattage at any point. I also have my clamp meter right here, so we can kind of watch the amperage coming out of the battery into the inverter. And also you'll notice that I have a ton of wires. I pretty much doubled up on my wires. This is 2 sets of 4-gauge wire. I wanted to make sure there was minimal loss due to the wiring. Okay, as for the washer, it is a Kenmore 90 series right here. I want to say this washer is at least 20 years old. We've lived here for over 8 years, and it came with the house. I did find the repair parts list, and it did show that the copyright of this little pamphlet is 1997. So if that gives you an idea how old it is, yeah, we're probably looking at 20, possibly 25 years. All right, and what I'm going to be washing today is a load of towels. It's probably going to be between half load and 3/4 of a load. So that should be a good test. All right, well, let's go ahead and unplug it from the wall. And plug it into the inverter. All right, turn our clamp meter on. And it looks like that draws about 1/2 amp. All right, and then I readjusted my amp clamp, so now it's just going to be capturing the highest amp load. So we should be able to just kind of keep track of that. It is plugged in, ready to go, so let's go ahead and turn the washer on. And I'm going to set it for ultra clean 10 minutes. Medium load, cold, 1 rinse, regular, slow, fast. Those are my typical settings. And right now, looks like the highest we've used is about 1.2 amps, and the battery shows 14 watts. So with the water, not much else is going on right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and load these clothes up, and we'll wait for it to start gyrating. All right, the clothes are in there. Let's go ahead and turn this on, and we will capture the amperage and the wattage output right when it starts gyrating. All right, it is now gyrating, and the maximum amperage was 136 amps. Right now, it continuously is pulling 480 to 490 watts from the battery. And it looks like the battery has gone down to 12.7 to 12.8 volts, which is totally fine. And this actually says 860 watts, but I don't think that's correct at all. Yeah, because if you look at the amperage, it's showing like 40 amps. 40 times 12 is like 480 watts. And that's what this battery is showing. So this battery is a lot more accurate than the display on the LEESKY. All right, well, the good thing is that so far this LEESKY 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter can pull this off with no problem. I mean, it's only using 25% of its load right now. It's not having any issues with this part of the wash so far. The one part I'm concerned about is actually during the spin cycle. So as soon as we get closer to that, I'll let you know. All right, well, I think that our timer is almost done with this cleaning cycle. So hopefully it'll start to spin soon. The inverter is having absolutely no problems whatsoever. The fans are on, but there is no issue. I mean, it's blowing cold air out, so it's no big deal. The battery started at 90% and now it's at 85. We're still pushing 450 to 460 watts. And the peak amperage, I reset this, so the peak amperage so far has been 46.6 amps. So everything is well within range what a 2,000 watt inverter can do. And you have to remember, this clothes washer is old. You know, we're talking 20 years old. Oh, here we go. Whoa. I saw 2,500 watts here. And the highest amperage was 146. With our battery, we are pulling 900 watts, 920 it looks like. Oh, look at that, almost 950, 950. I think once the gyrator inside the washer starts really spinning, this might go up even higher. There we go. Things are starting to shake. It's actually going down. It's probably because it's getting up to speed. Yeah, and our amps are only at 48 amps. So yeah, this is easily 2,000 watt inverter can easily do this. Over here it shows that we've got 12.5 volts on the battery, 12.4, which is well within range of this inverter. It has no issue whatsoever. This does say 960 watts, but I do know that's wrong. All right, it looks like it might have started over. Yeah, but it only gets up to about 800 to 900 watts. And then that's about its peak when it's spinning. That initial surge though, I saw 2,400 watts here. You're talking 200 amps. All right, this washing machine is still on its initial spin cycle, and the battery is down to 80%. So we use 10% of this battery. So we've used about 10 amp hours just on the first part of washing these clothes. So we're looking at using about 20% of a 100 amp hour battery in order to wash one load of laundry. All right, the washer is filling back up with water and then it's going to start gyrating again. I think we're not going to have any issues with this, but I'll let you know. All right, our washer is just about full of water again, so let's go ahead and capture what happens. It should be the same as it was the first time. Here we go. All right, and not bad. It ran that with no problem at all. But the one thing that you do have to remember is that even though a 2,000 watt inverter can pull it off just fine, it's only using a quarter of the capacity of this 2,000 watt inverter. You're only using about 500 watts. But that initial surge, when that gyrator starts, either when there's water in there or when it starts spinning, is big. I mean, you're talking 200 amps, you're talking 2,400 watts. And that's the part right there that if you don't have an inverter big enough, it can pop instantly and everything will just stop. So that's why you kind of want to go with an oversized inverter and not go with like a 1,000 watt inverter. A 1,000 watt inverter might not be able to handle this. All right, it's starting the second spin. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the lid and I'm going to drop it back down and see what happens. All right, and what we're going to do is watch the amperage and the wattage to see what the max is. So I'm closing the lid now. And I really didn't see anything. I do notice that this is pulling 900 watts. And we're looking at 75 amps. So I know this video is all about making sure that a 2000 watt inverter can pull this off, but it's also very important to have a battery that can pull it off. I mean, this is a consistent 900 watts coming out of this battery. You do not want to use a 50 amp hour battery that can only support 50 amps of max draw, or any battery that has less than 100 amp draw consistently. That's why I wanted to use this Golden Mate Orion 1000, because I know that this battery can definitely handle this job. All right, I think it's gonna start. Okay, it's on its rinse cycle. All right, well, this washing machine is on its final spin cycle, and I have no doubts that this 2000 watt inverter can pull it off. So as soon as it's all done, I'll just kind of let you know how much capacity it took out of the battery, and I'll let you know my final thoughts. All right, well, our wash cycle is complete. Everything in there is nice and clean. And the 2000 watt inverter didn't even really break a sweat, nor did the 100 amp hour battery. But in my honest opinion, I think if you're actually going to wash clothes in an off-grid situation using a single battery and a single inverter, you'll want to go with a 2000 watt inverter. You want to make sure you have an inverter that can handle that giant surge capacity of over 2500 watts. I think if you, and you got to remember, while it was spinning, it sustained 900 watts for 45 seconds. I think you might be able to get away with a 1500 watt inverter with a 3000 watt surge, but I think you'd be pushing it. 1000 watt inverter with 2000 watt surge, I would not recommend that. I don't think it's enough power. Either the inverter would, the capacitors might start popping in it, or it would just fault and the washing machine would stop. When it comes to the battery, 100 amp hour battery, 200 amp surge, I think that's definitely the way to go. You don't want to use a 50 amp hour 12 volt battery by itself. I think it would fault out fairly quickly trying to do this. And also, the last thing I want to tell you is that this Orion 1000 from Golden Mate started at 90% and it's now at 71%. So you can expect a drop of 19 to 20 amp hours from one load of laundry. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about what I did or anything else for that matter, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll have a link to these items in my description in case you want to look further into them. Thank you so much again, and have a great day. Bye-bye. All right, now let's test the dryer.